My name is Jim Ryan, and I'm the new instructional designer here at EWU. My job here is to take a look at the programs, courses, and people from a different point of view, to see how all these Lego pieces fit, and to imagine how I can help put them together differently to make something new and amazing. Welcome to the Play to Learn podcast. Today, I'm talking with Jackie Coombs and Christy Harder. These two amazing leaders in academic affairs and professional and continuing education discuss their big push to implement credit mobility via an innovative digital credentialing system. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy. I'm here with the two hardest working women in EWU, and we're here today to talk about credit mobility. I've got Jackie Coombs and Christy Harder. So let's get started.
Please go ahead, Jackie. Oh, thank you. So there's different aspects to this work, and they're all related in some very interesting ways that are providing our students with great opportunities and adult learners who want to come back and earn a degree. So one of those opportunities is credit for prior learning, which has been around for a long time. And we're looking at ways that other universities are expanding it with faculty input to include other types of learning, such as professional licenses or other recognized professional learning, national licenses that can help students demonstrate that they've learned college level skills and learning and have those credits count towards their degree. So there's different ways to show that learning, and one of the ways is learning and employment records, which Christy can speak to.
Well, I think the bigger factor of what a movement this is nationally is that we're a part of 6 different local, state, and or national level initiatives that are all around some component of credit mobility. And as Jackie mentioned, the traditional credit pathway from one university to another was transfer credits. So you've taken courses at one university, you decided you want to do that again at a different university. So those are the transfer credits. At Eastern, we also have the portfolio where you can submit, like Jackie said, your professional certificates. We want to expand those opportunities. An example would be what we're trying to do in professional and continuing education around courses that we offer for non-credit, but they're the exact same courses that we have at Eastern for 4 credit courses. So how can we legally go about providing that opportunity for people who are working towards a certificate through the professional and continuing education unit, again, taking the same courses, and then realize they love what they're doing in design for a certificate, so they want to earn their degree in design, and then be able to transfer those credits directly in to help towards their completed degree. Jackie was referencing learning and employment records, and again, this is a national initiative. Skills Forward has been a grant opportunity for 7 different programs, project programs, demonstration projects that across the nation we're implementing a full, they call it learning and employment record ecosystem, the full life cycle, so that people can own their credentials as they earn them. They keep them in a digital verified platform, and they can share those credentials with employers and or other post-secondary institutes. And ultimately, the goal would be our paper trading is done, even PDFs, because PDFs still have to be verified. So these digital credentials, as you've mentioned, Jim, have blockchain behind them and JSON behind them so that those credentials are verified from the onset. And on the side of the registrar, for example, they would be able to recognize that, and it would be an easier process for enrollment.
Yeah, the superpower behind this is that it's a single unifying format that will be accepted not just by universities, but by employers as well. It's a service that will be able to translate people's experience into something that's verifiable on both sides of that equation. And because both sides of that equation agree on the language, that gives a lot more opportunity to the students to be able to either go and qualify for certain courses and avoid other courses that they don't need, or that they will be qualified for a better position because the language that they use in their job application and that's on their resume matches that better position. So it gives more opportunity for both students and job seekers.
That's a great connection, Jim, especially when we think about how this is going to help the university connect to employers through the student. And one of Eastern's goals right now with our strategic plan is that we identify the skills that students are learning in their degree programs and in each class and articulate those. And now with the learning and employment records, students will be able to see those skills that they have earned, restate them when they're going for job interviews, and demonstrate that they have those through this verified credentialing platform.
The other awesome part about many of the platforms, and the one that we piloted with the IQ4 Corporation, has had great success, and our students actually spoke about it because the technology helped those students be able to understand the skill sets that they obtained through their courses. And 3 of the students that we interviewed each said that they didn't realize that that's the skill set that they were attaining during their work. But then they're able to speak about that more fluidly and fluently when they are having an interview with an employer. And within those technologies, those learning and employment record digital wallets, they show the skill sets that you've obtained and the gap between the skills that you need in order to get the jobs that you want. And they will show where you can earn those skills with other courses within the university, for example, and what courses those specifically would be to help you get to those jobs.
That's an insanely powerful tool because it helps people visualize and see right in front of them what they have achieved and what they can do, and then where they need to improve themselves. And then it matches that improvement void with courses that they need. And all they have to do is follow the steps to match those courses with those skill voids that they need to fill. And then they've suddenly become a more holistic or more employable person for whatever job they want to go for.
Skills gap.
Yeah, skills gap. Thank you.
Skills gap. Yep.
Better term than mine.
Students start seeing the pathway to better wages, to more interesting careers, and to promoting their own possibilities when we can lay this out for them.
Yeah, and essentially that's why people are going to a higher education in the first place, is to have the financial mobility as well as credit mobility. And I don't know of many other universities that are doing this, and it's a huge service. It gives them that power, the incentive to come here, because it makes that path so much more clear for them than they would have to go through at other universities.
Research has demonstrated that students who we accept credits for what they've learned before are more likely to graduate and often take more credits than those who come in with none at all. So I think honoring learners what they've done, their life experiences that can be awarded college level learning is best for all of us.
And it's new for us too at Eastern.
Yes.
So we are in multiple different cohorts, learning cohorts through these grants to learn from national experts who are guiding us. They're called coaches through the work, through the collaboration with the other cohort universities. Actually, for one of the grants, the Holistic Credit Mobility cohort with the Ithaca SNR, we're the only university. The other 11, 12 grantees are all state-level partnerships. So on our end, we've been trying to partner with the Washington Student Achievement Council, OSPI, the K-12 Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction, as well as our State Board of Career and Technical Colleges, because we want to do this as a pathway opportunity for our high school students up to our adult learners, and do that collectively and collaboratively together. And the technologies that are out there, I know you, Jim, you and I have a great passion for all things educational technology, but one of the technologies to help is the work that Dr. Sue Magyar is doing with the SEIU Apprenticeship to Degree Partnership. Through that grant, they've been able to obtain Cal Predictor Pro, which allows people to be able to submit what their previous experience, both for credit and work experience, is to determine what type of credit they would be able to obtain at Eastern.
So there's a lot that goes in to bring a system like this to fruition? I mean, there's one thing to get a pitch from a salesperson at a conference, and it's a whole other thing to completely integrate it into the university system and partner with other universities and other companies and whatnot. What has that process been like?
Oh, it's a challenge. It's very much a challenge, right? Because we're set in a certain way. We have a lot of federal regulations and state regulations that we have to comply with, and a lot of those are around financial aid. So, and the way our computer system is set up we have a student information system with a curriculum in it, and any learning that bears college credit that is applied towards a degree must go through faculty committees, and because faculty own curriculum, and that's not individually, they own it as a whole. They verify that this is all college level, and that's the kind of work we have to do. But there's many processes that we're upsetting that we need to look at how we can revise policy so that we are allowing for prior learning. And there's already some in place, but we're trying to update it and for more opportunities for students.
There's some really innovative faculty as well that are willing to work with us around what they've been wanting to do and have been doing with their industry partnerships. Dr. Luis Matos is a perfect example where he did his sabbatical last year, went into industry, learned from them, partnered with them to develop what he's trying to line out for his coursework and curriculum, and then what he's trying to do around a certificate and partnering with professional and continuing education to be able to offer that to our students as they're going through their degree so they can be employed in the field and learn if they like it, first of all, let alone be more successful of it and make those employer mentors along the way towards the end of their degree. So that's a great example of who we're bringing on board to help advise us, as well as people that have a differing opinion so that we can see both sides of what we need to do and to do it very effectively. Cross-campus partnerships also include the work that we're doing with Records and Reg, what we're doing with our Career Center. We've included folks from enrollment, as well as who else have we partnered with? Arts Affairs Academic Affairs.
Yes, and Beyond Eastern's Constellation of Support Grant is about learning and employment records from the state higher education groups, SHIO, State Higher Education Executive Officers Association. So our state is actually doing quite a few innovative steps in this direction. So it's working with others throughout the state. And then, like you said, we're working with SBCTC and K-12 to think about how we can improve these pathways for students.
Yeah. And what you're really doing is blazing a trail here that's kind of not really been blazed before. A few other universities are doing it, and like you're saying, the state is supporting it to some degree, but a lot of the challenges really come down to the technical. When you talk about records and registration and student employment and things like that, what have these vendors that you've been working with, have they been able to help you with that? Or has it been kind of like you're the one who's having to do all the footwork and make all those little connections happen?
The tech vendors.
And also, for these 6 programs, we have coaches. So they've helped us articulate and clarify our goals. And one of them has helped connect us to other grantees or organizations that have worked out some of the problems that we're looking at now.
Yeah, and with the tech vendors, they've been working with post-secondary institutes for decades. CalPredictor Pro has been used at the state level as well. The Washington Student Achievement Council supported one of our community colleges to pilot that technology for their learning. We're working with the IQ4 Corporation on a learning and employment record pilot. And I've known the folks that are leading that work and the implementation strategies that they've had, and they've been very responsive to what the needs have been with post-secondary institutes. So initially, they weren't doing the credentialing part. They were leaving that to a company, for example, like Credly or Canvas Credentials or Credible. But they knew that we needed that credentialing piece, and it's an entire another contract, which means an entire another chunk of change to make happen. So they on their end are doing the credentialing component for their partners as well now. And Canvas Credentials was previously Badger. They've been working with post-secondary institutes for, I would say, 25 years. So when you're asking how they've helped and what they can do, they do understand what it looks like to expand. I think one of the components that is really challenging is when you are trying to offer this to all of your students. So at Eastern, if we have 12, 13,000 college and high school students, another 10,500 undergrad and grad students, and then if we wanted to work with our employees and our faculty and staff at Eastern to be able to offer credentialing to 30,000 people is a very large expense. What ASU ended up doing was they created their own technology to make this happen. They also have 180,000 students, so I'm sure their IT department can correlate to the difference between ours and theirs. So we just have to be really intentional and strategic. And these grant funds aren't huge, but they're helping us be able to pilot the technologies to determine how we do want to move forward, and then try and make it very intentional so that it is beneficial to our students, our faculty, and our employers to make it worth the return on investment.
Right. Well, I was just thinking about the employer piece, right? Before you mentioned them, I was thinking the employers. So we do have some employers definitely getting on board, but as this is being spread nationwide and sometimes in entire states, we have to really pay attention to making sure that employers see the value in it. And so students see value in it. Turns out, more research, students are more likely to be retained in college if they're going to earn some sort of certificate in addition to their degree. So that matters to them. So they believe their employers care. And it does put them, if you have two resumes of people who just graduated from college and they have the same degree, but one also has this certificate that says they're really good at project management. It looks like they've gone above and beyond. So I think employers do value that. And if they have skills very specific that the employer needs, it's probably going to put them ahead because then the employer knows they have the kinds of experience and learning the employer's not going to have to train them for.
And I don't know if you've already been considering this aspect of it, but the more students that get into this program using the digital credentials, that tracks them throughout their entire career.
That's part of the beauty of this is they own their data and they're able to control who sees it and what they do with it.
Right.
One of the things about being a polytechnic, Eastern Washington University has a commitment to working with our regional industry partners. And a great model of what I've seen at other universities is they provide and develop certificates for their degree-seeking students in partnership with employers. So when students complete a certain set of coursework, and in addition, they complete the certificate that's been developed with their industry partner, those students automatically get an interview at that company. The people that have been doing this very successfully is Florida Gulf Coast University, and I want to give them credit because it's taken them 5 years to the point where they've got this partnership built out. The VP that leads that work was presenting at InstructureCon this year in Spokane, and she just said it's a win-win-win for students, for faculty, and for employers because it's such a great partnership.
Yeah, I'm good friends with Ramel Watson from the Career Center. We just talked to him today, Jackie.
I was thinking about him as she was.
Yeah, exactly. And when you look at a university like an organism instead of like a group of silos that are all pointed in one direction, but more like an organism that has all these different pieces and functions that intertwine and mix, you see how these different connections get made and how important things like the Career Center are with making those connections to the outside industry that has specific needs. And then they help inform the university as to what those needs are, what programs that could use a little bit more focus and maybe could need some more students to become more employees in that given field.
Right. And I know Ramel has now courted 29 employers to be at our career fair. So this is great to go on to. As I've thought about this and better understood learning and employment records, and that I could look at the platform and go, oh yeah, I did this and I did that. I think about students applying for scholarships and jobs and so on, and being reminded in an organized way. And in some of these platforms are really good at saying, and this, have you thought about this job? Have you thought about this career? Because you have the background for those things. Mm-hmm. And it puts that information together, which technology can do these days. I would have loved something like that. I actually created a 3-ring notebook to hold all of here's what I've done. So I didn't forget it, and encourage students to do that back in the day. So this is much better than a 3-ring notebook because it's easy to forget all the things you've done even at the age of 25, people have forgotten, oh, yeah, I did that
Right.
thing, and this would be good on a resume, and I've forgotten.
Right. And you have a tendency to focus on your last year of courses or your last semester of courses right before you go to that job interview versus having the platform lined up where you remember what you did your freshman year and the skill sets are associated to that. So the other component of the digital credentials that we want to line out is associating skills to that credential. And then people can recall what that looks like and build up what they need for that skill set towards that position. And again, along the way, most of our students are working during their degree towards what they want to be doing. And ideally, they're doing that in their field of study versus a job that they need to have so they can learn more about it, build mentorships with the employers, and be able to graduate more successfully.
I think it's easier for a person to envision the kinds of successes they're having. It's like playing a video game and all the different levels. Whereas when you're just working for a 4-year degree, it takes you 4 years, sometimes more, to get to that and see that level difference. And instead, you can reflect after the first year, oh, I learned all of this stuff. I have grown tremendously and I have these skills. Sure, I want to get some sort of job or internship. And internships can even get certificates or credentials awarded to them that demonstrate the kinds of learning one wants to take on.
And learn what other opportunities are out there. When I worked on my teaching certificate, my teaching degree, all I knew was being a math high school classroom teacher and coach. But there are hundreds of jobs correlated to having an education degree and all around the world, which I've had the opportunity to work in 3 other countries and 4 other states. And that's what one of our students that has been piloting the digital wallet had said. She's like, I didn't realize there were jobs all over the world in therapeutic rec, and how excited she was about that. And the lifelong learning process too, being able to upskill yourself for the credentials that you need to keep for your continuing education units, like that is populated inside of these to help you better understand and remember when your certificate expires, because that's the other part of the technology. Just because you own that credential doesn't mean you own it forever or that it lasts forever. But this technology that has what we're talking about, Jim, that level of data on the backside, they will expire and then you'll have to get it renewed and that will be shown inside of your LER.
I'm glad you brought up the video game portion of it because at a very high, well, I don't know what a very high level, but at least at a high level, it is a very gamified system. I come from a background in video games, and if anybody's played any role-playing games, you have a character sheet. And this character sheet that you're building has different skill levels and different attributes. And as that person gets into higher levels, they gain more skills and levels. And if they maybe use an item, like the certificate, it has what's called a cooldown. And so after a certain period of time, it can't be used, right? Just like that. So it feels to me like the people who came up with this concept were also people who play video games and see the connection at that level. And I think it's a tool that not enough people know about, but it's probably one of the most powerful tools that is going to be so affect people's lives so strongly in the future that it's just this amazing thing. Not enough people know about it.
Right. Well, we're working on making it work at Eastern.
Yeah.
Well, just one of our goals with the 6 different initiatives that we have working towards credit mobility is really engaging faculty and staff across departments and better understanding their concerns and their hesitations so that we can work through them. But, the initiatives that we have, that's not just at Eastern. Like, this is a national platform. The Washington Student Achievement Council, WASAC, like Jackie referenced, they're on at least 4 of these different cohort learning models and or leading them with and for us. And again, we are one of the multiple universities that are part of this. So with the constellation of support, that's around credit for prior learning. There's 8 different post-secondary institutes in Washington that are part of that learning cohort. The Holistic Credit Mobility with Ithaca SNR, that's 13 different statewide organizations. Again, Eastern's the only university. That's the single cohort there.
Luster States.
Mm-hmm.
And the Learning and Employment Record, the LER Accelerator cohort, that has 25 different universities. Initially, they thought they were going to be in the 10s that were going to be populated. They had over 39 applicants and then 25 different awardees. So it's been fun to be a part of that too and see who's moving forward. And having done the Skills Forward grant evaluation work over the past 18 months, we just celebrated our 18th month. There were 56 different proposals that were submitted for that grant. So only 7 were awarded over the 18 months. So there's a lot more going on that's not being recognized or not nationally known, which just tells you there's a lot bigger underfoot and growth process that's going to take place over the next few years with this work.
And one thing you brought up before was finding teachers who are very understanding of what the technology can do and very much champions for that technology. Then you also have teachers, I'm sure, that are pushing back against it. I don't know. I'm just assuming. So what is the give and take there? How do you move that ball forward and show the teachers who might be more hesitant to accept this technology and show them that it's, hey, this is really going to be good for you and your students?
I think there's concerns from some faculty that we are watering down what a credit means or what a degree means, and that's fair. We really need to make sure that these credits are meaningful and valued, both from the employers don't want us to badge everything under the sun without faculty input, but also their input because they know what skills they want to see in the new employees as well. There are other concerns related to, so it's the robustness, just having control. And there's also concern about, well, if they're getting all these credits someplace else, what are they doing here? So programs are built with a lot of intentionality on how students gain knowledge as they go throughout a program and to make sure that we're integrating and we're introducing skills, then building on those skills and then mastering them finally. So if you get somebody and you're saying, well, they don't have to take these classes because I already learned this. Rarely have they learned it in the same way. So learning is contextual, right? If I learn how to be a nurse only by being a nurse in a hospital and following a nurse around versus taking all of the courses in a nursing classroom, my brain works in different ways as far as understanding what I've learned and how I've learned it. And I might be missing some pieces that the classroom gives me, even though I might have some great experiences in the hospital room. So it has to do with context and knowing that students understand things in a deep way and in a connected way that we can build on them. So if I'm saying, well, remember in 101, you learned this, and we have students in there who didn't learn it in 101, and they might not even have the entire course worth of material, but enough that they were awarded credits on it. How are they going to pick up some things or recognize based on that they learned it in a different context, recognize that they have already learned this and can apply it. So it's more complex teaching. And so we just have to learn how to do that teaching.
The champion that we have right now who's been our pilot is Dr. Karen Wenzel. She's been working with the IQ4 Corporation, who's been fantastic in helping our students and her walk through how to download your wallet, how to access your wallet, how to own your wallet, and then how to receive the credentials inside of your wallet and then use them. So just being a partner with them has been fantastic, but Karen's been fantastic too. She already had her courses lined out. Every single course of her 6 were correlated to the national certificate that students are taking our courses for, which has the skill sets already lined out that people should know before they take the national exam. So her courses were already skills-based. So then to line that out with the credential that students are receiving as they complete coursework has been quite easy because she already had it figured out. But the part that she said that she liked so much is that students were then aware to see what that was and determine what else they need to be doing on their own. We talked about how the wallet will show what that looks like for them, and also the excitement of what they can see as they are moving forward towards their degree because they're earning that as they go and they can see progress towards what their goal is, which is to get employment in the field.
Yeah. That progress bar makes it a lot easier to see when you're getting right closer to the end there.
Yeah, they want that job, but they also want to be well prepared to be really good at their job. And we all want that, right? And so it's how do you ensure that all of these things, I mean, it almost looks like you're creating a degree out of a mosaic, almost
drawing a picture with little bricks, and each brick is a class.
Right. And do they fit together well when you're getting it from different places? Well, people have always gotten it from different places, transferred from, I don't know about you all, but I have transcripts from 7 or 8 different institutions. I don't remember which now, but it was all learning. And then once I start using it and apply it, it becomes one for me. And we're all unique anyways on what we get out of our classes and who we had for instructors. There's differences among people who only go through one institution. So yeah.
I think faculty are going to see what a benefit is to them with their instruction, because students are going to better understand why they are taking their course. When they can understand what the skill sets are coming out of that course, we have outcomes. Outcomes aren't always correlated to the skill sets. So for students to be able to better understand the reason why they're taking that course, I think faculty will have a better appreciation of the use of the technology, but also the ultimate goal is to get people employed and be able to have life-sustaining, family-sustaining wages. So I think we're all committed to that across the university.
So we're at the stage where we're piloting these programs, and they are definitely successful with both the instructor and the students. Like they're very happy with it, and they're eager to see it go forward. Where do you see this in the next 5 years, 10 years? It's hard to see maybe that far down the line, but this is a big systems change. So what does that mean?
Can we imagine 1 and 2 years first and then 5 years? So, and actually the last year has been quite interesting and already some good steps forward. Like you said, the therapeutic rock and now design. And so we have some building, and now the goal is to kind of make sure we institutionalize it so that more of the faculty and employers who see themselves, who see the benefit of this, and students who see the benefit can help inform what's next, which other programs we should be doing. And I think once there's a proof of concept out there and more of it, I think more programs will want to be involved and see where they fit. They'll start thinking about their education. So we don't just educate students for employers. We educate them for personal and civic purposes. And those things don't have to go away. But we do need to also consider students come to college because they want a better job, they want a better life. And so how do we weave these things together? Because those things are not mutually exclusive. Very often that better job comes with certain skills that make you also understand yourself better and grow better, transform and transform your life and your future family's life.
And we want to do it, like we mentioned before, with a cross-campus collaboration. So we put together a credentialing committee very intentionally to line out how to make decisions, whether that's a process, procedure, or a policy, and then move forward with the evolution of all of those pieces collectively. I think another component of what that looks like over time is figuring out which technology, if that's what the focus is on, which technology does fit and how we can afford to implement that technology. You know, we mentioned 3 different technologies already. So we've talked about Cal Predictor Pro, helping people that are interested in coming to Eastern and or here determine what they have for credit for prior learning opportunities with us. We talked about Canvas Credentials, which is a credentialing system. It's taken over a year to get to the point where we are saying those technologies because we've vetted so many along the way. And then the IQ4 Corporation is a learning and employment record. And again, hundreds of hours spent between those 3 technologies to determine if this is what we should be moving forward with. And then there's all of the implementation components. So doing that with IT and with a single sign-on and with our student and information systems and with our learning management system. So it's not a simple process.
Yes, and that has to be woven together with the socializing it across campus and listening to others who might have other ideas and lots of questions. And that includes our students.
Right.
Our students need to have a strong voice in what these opportunities are for them and future students.
And it's expected as part of the cohorts. That's part of the grant expectation, is that you have student voice.
And the good thing with this technology, and I kind of understand a little bit of all the different kinds, not a whole lot, but the incentive is to make everything be able to work together as seamlessly as possible. Because it used to be the case, if you're going back a few decades, when you'd have the Microsofts versus the Apples, or pick your poison for these different corporations that just wanted to take and own this big chunk of land and not share it with anybody. But the fact is that if you are able to develop a service, and it could be the same as one of these other services, or it could be in aiding one of those other services, but you are able to agree on a common language and to be able to merge those technologies together, everybody benefits from that because you're having the flow going both ways instead of just this giant wall up in front of everyone.
That's the interoperability expectations of the technology. And that's been a very intentional component for especially learning and employment records because there are many new startup companies. Everyone from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation to the state of Alabama, they have different platforms that they've supported. But over time, we want to be able to move from one state to another with our credentials and not have to ask every time I move, Jackie's 7 different institutions that I need my transcripts again. I've spent hundreds of dollars on my hundreds of job applications in the 5 states and 4 different countries I've lived in. But if I could own them, and they need to be interoperable so that I can move from one platform to another. And a great opportunity that we have in Washington State is around SchoolLinks. SchoolLinks is the career and college readiness platform that will be implemented in all of our K-12s for the High School and Beyond plan through OSPI's initiative. SchoolLinks is the learning and employment record for Central Ohio. They're a Skills Forward grantee, and they've been working with their high schools there to document what students have been doing, those high school students, throughout their learning career. Ideally, they can move those learning and employment records into the platform that we would use at EW, or they're going to Michigan, wherever it is that they transfer to, and over time be able to use them for enrollment in a quicker, more efficient manner. Those are called a comprehensive learner record. A CLR is a comprehensive learner record, so that's more correlated to what SchoolLinks would have rather than the employment piece, because very few high school students are doing that employment component, but they have been documenting that inside of those. So that's an exciting opportunity for Washington to be able to consider and look at more holistically across our state.
Yeah, that interoperability, the security that comes with this, and the students owning their achievements, I think it just makes this so amazing. And it blew me away when you first mentioned it to me, and it got me going down rabbit holes and learning all I could about it. And the fact that both of you were willing to work so hard to make it happen, it gives me a lot of hope for the university because it's going in the right direction.
I agree. Thank you.